happy Republic Day to all of you. Jai Hind. Jai Hind. Jai Hind. How's the Josh? Super. So I'm often asked, how did I get into the business of design? Well, I didn't. The business got into me. My story, my entrepreneurial journey began when I was in school. I used to modify cycles. So I would pick up a magazine, look at a catalog, and try and take an ordinary cycle and convert it into something that was aspirational. I did that, moved to college. Unlike you guys, I was not fortunate enough to come to BITS, but I moved to a diploma in mechanical engineering college in Nagpur. I started doing motocross racing. I would do the same thing that I did then with the cycle, I did with my bike. I would go to sponsors, collect money, modify the motorcycle, bring it into an aspirational racing machine, and race motocross. That was when I was 16. When I was 17, that is my first business card out there. It was a homegrown, small catering shop meant for small parties and corporates. I did it with my neighbor. By 18, I was frustrated. I wanted to become an entrepreneur. I dropped out of my college. I didn't finish my diploma, and I moved to Bombay. My real entrepreneurial journey began when I was 19. I moved to Bombay. Being from a middle-class Parsi family, didn't have the resources to invest into any business, but I decided I'm never going to work for anybody else. I sold off my motorcycle, got about 20,000 rupees those days, bought a pest control pump, bought a drilling machine, and got going with my business, printed my cards, went to the nearby Jhoparpatti and hired literally a jhopadi and converted that into the pest control license operation. Started approaching corporate clients and got an exposure of what it takes to go and sell yourself. I was very fortunate enough to land at the right corporates at the right time. And I got some great companies like Bank of Baroda and Tata's. That changed my whole perspective. I would go into Bombay House every now and then to do pest control. And very close quarters, I would look at the top executives, which otherwise I would have never had a chance to see. Got me thinking in a direction that I needed to do something bigger. So even though pest control was doing good, I wanted to move to contracting. And the very same clients that gave me pest control jobs started giving me small contracting jobs. Building repairs, plumbing wall repairs, cleaning of water tanks. It moved beyond. And I moved my place from the Jhopadi to a small electrical meter room at Nepean Road, 200 square feet, and made it into a contracting office. The staff grew, the business grew, and it was 95. By the time, again, I was frustrated because I didn't see the contracting business growing. I always wanted to be on the creative side. That got me to the next level. That got me to my actual entrepreneurial career. One day, passing from Churchgate, I used to go and look at these books and catalogs sitting there. You know, these guys have stalls on the roads. I picked up a book, Ufficio, that really changed my life. It was a catalog of Italian office furniture suppliers. And from that catalog, I could quickly sense that as a contractor, I'd never seen that kind of furniture in any office, including Bombay House, where I thought that was the epitome of design those days. I got a couple of fax numbers. Those days, emails were not there, mind you. You guys must have been just born. That was 95. I sent faxes to about 25, 26 companies or more. One company responded back. And I said, I'm interested in representing you in India. I didn't know what I was talking. But one company responded back. And like my earlier speaker said, you need to create opportunities. That company that responded back turned out to be the world's second largest office furniture manufacturer those days in Europe, number 1 in Europe, number 2 in the world, Oliveri Synthesis. So this guy responds to me and I go. I pick my bags, go to Italy, meet with this guy. He was a genuinely nice person who turned around things for me. He not only gave me a dealership in India because Oliveri was doing zero business with India, he also introduced me to other Italian furniture suppliers. And very soon, before I could actually think, I was representing company after company, picking up catalogs after catalogs in suitcases, getting them back to India, going to architects and trying to sell. Because I'd identified a business that didn't exist. Supplying Italian furniture and having a showroom of Italian furniture in India, that was the first one more than 20 years back. This continued. I soon became very popular with the leading fancy architects in the country, not only in Bombay, across Delhi, Chennai, Calcutta, Bangalore. And I would frequent Italy at least twice a month. I hired a showroom and set up India's first Italian furniture showroom and represented about 27 brands. Did an exhibition of Italian furniture way back in 96. Soon enough, as soon as the exhibition got over and order booking was done, yet another blow to me. The government of India decided to remove furniture imports from the special import license, and it became a negative list of import. Means I could no longer import for those months, and I didn't know when that policy would change. This compelled me to get into manufacturing. It was a blessing in disguise. So I went to Nagpur, where I was doing my engineering once upon a time, and hired a friend's workshop, which was about 2,000 square feet. His father had expired, took it on rent, and set up a carpentry shop. Soon enough, I got the biggest break of my life of Star TV to supply their entire furniture. And I went off to Daman and hired an entire factory and started manufacturing furniture there. This was 97. Things turned around, became popular, started working with so many architects and designers. To me, design came naturally because that's what I had learned doing, improvising things and bettering things aesthetically and functionally. To me, design was never taught. I've never learned to be an architect or a designer a day in my life. I've never gone through formal education in design, but that particular thing kept me going. Design thinking happened to me way later in life, but whatever I was doing, there was a method to the madness, there was a process. It was chaos, but it was organized chaos. And at any point in time, our lives were chaotic. It was never a simple, dull moment till date in our lives. Well, 97, 98, 99 supplied furniture, and again, I get disheartened when I don't see the businesses growing at the speed I want them to grow. I thought the most of the architects to whom I'm supplying the furniture, I could design better than them. And we could have an organization where we would kind of democratize design. So we realized clients wanted the international design. They wanted the stuff at a fixed price. And if we worked out a turnkey design formula, we would be successful. That was a niche I identified. 99, we did the first turnkey interiors for HDFC, followed by, I don't know, hundreds of offices. And across India, we were literally doing any brand. So 90% of television channels you would change were designed by me once upon a time. Finance, shipping, we went across industries, and this formula of turnkey design was one of the reasons why we became so successful. Our factory would supply, our contracting company would do the contracting, we would design, and we would democratize design. We replicated the same and realized that even though I was not a qualified architect, clients started approaching us for design, and we started designing architecture. We hired hordes of designers. At the peak, we had about 1,700 employees, architects, designers, engineers, MEP consultants, furniture manufacturing specialists, all within the same organization. But this one thing separated us from the crowd, trying and identifying a gap in what is available vis-a-vis what we can deliver. What the finest architects would deliver versus what value add would we bring across on the table if clients appointed us. So we did a couple of very interesting projects across the length and breadth of the country. Again, architectural design fees, interior fees, the turnovers were not really happening. When I would compare myself and our organization to the leading developers in Bombay and Bangalore, with whom I used to work very closely, their balance sheets would be at least 3 zeros ahead of mine. And I decided that we should get into development. But development, again, we used design thinking and tried to do something. When we had to compete with established players in the industry, tomorrow when you guys start your careers and want to compete with the established players in the industry, you need to identify a niche, and then you need to give it your 100%. So we developed only one building in Bombay. That was the first redevelopment job that we did. But aesthetically, we gave it 100%. It was so strong in design that today it has got onto the landmark of Bombay. It has gone to become a landmark in Bombay. On the skyline of Bombay, every developer with this one project and every architect and designer with this one project began to realize and acknowledge the building. So we gave it a personal architectural theme, and we recreated art with more than 250 artists sitting for 2.5 years working on this particular project. We moved across and got into something in the year 2008, which was second home development. Again, we wanted the company to grow, identified a niche. Developers were there doing commercial development, developers were there doing residential development. There was not a single developer focusing on specialization in second homes. Throughout when I was traveling on and off to Italy and the rest of Europe, I realized in India, we lacked the quality of life and enjoyment. The Italians would design with passion, and with the same passion, they would live their lives. So on weekends, you would see entire families of husband, wife, children donning their cycling attire and cycling together. We would see them biking together in dirt bike tracks with small miniature bikes for the kids, and the fathers and kids enjoying together and the mothers riding as well. Zip lines, flying foxes. I could say, wherever I would go, weekends I would see recreation that we were devoid of. And that got me thinking. In 2008-9, we had the first recession. And it was a strong recession as far as we were concerned. 2009 was really bad. Out of our 1,700 employees, we would have to let go of 600 employees because most projects were shutting down. With this idea in my mind brewing, why can't we get recreation for the mind, body, and soul for the entire family to India? We set up an adventure park. Every single activity that we had seen there, we converted that and put it across in application. Being into the world of design, being into the world of manufacturing, being into the world of contracting. For us, it came naturally setting up these things. But we wanted to not set up a theme park. We didn't want to go to China and pick up some equipment of junk and put it across over here and call it a theme park. We wanted to develop something for the mind, body, and soul, something for every family member. So we designed about 70 activities. And again, design thinking really, really helped me. None of this would have been possible hadn't I gone through a course of 3 days with IDEO design. How many of you know IDEO? Surprising. I would strongly suggest all of you to visit IDEO. IDEO is one of the foremost design institutions in the world. They are the ones who designed the Apple mouse. So, IDEO taught me in 3 days with their seminar what design thinking meant and why should you go through a process of design to achieve the desired result. The same desired result each time if you go through the entire process of design. That really changed my life and everything I started doing. How do you create something unique? It's not because it's your gut feeling. It's because you put it through a design process. We set up the adventure park and we moved ahead. And we said, next to the adventure, why don't we have accommodation? And again in the accommodation, we did design thinking. What is that is not available? People were fed up of 5 stars. People wanted experiences. So we started focusing on experiential hospitality. Leave alone a hotel. We had not even run a restaurant in our lives. So we set up a 30-room tented resort on the edge of the mountain adjoining the property. None of this was inherited. This was all being acquired as the business was running. Every rupee went back in the business. With this resort, people loved the experience. They loved the contemporary tents. In India, usually in Rajasthan, tents are the Raja Maharaja luxury tents. When you put in a very Philip Stark contemporary tent, it excited the corporate world. It excited the people who had traveled globally. So this was the first resort we set up with 30 rooms. We learnt our ropes. We kept our ears very close to the ground. And we kept listening to our customers and how could we improvise their experience of hospitality. Well, one thing led to the other. And 3 years down the line, we set up the next resort. And again, 2 years down the line, we set up the adventure resort. And each time we were looking at a theme, what to set up that would turn on people across. And soon we had a fan following of the top 500 corporates in the country as our clients. So we have everybody from a Google to a Microsoft who comes from across India and goes there for the experiences that we offer. It moved to the next. It moved to creating, innovating new things in hospitality which didn't exist. 24-hour spa didn't exist in the country. 24-hour fine dining is a word we coined out, didn't exist in the country. So we kept on innovating new things across. We soon became a case study for New York Stern University. The final year MBA students came and spent a day with me, and we were a case study for what we had created in terms of experiential hospitality. Well, again, 3 years down the line, 3 years back, I used to always be looking for an aspirational figure to mentor. I never had a mentor in my life. And Bombay House days got me connected to J.R.D. Tata, and I had read this writing over there when I was in my pest control days. No success or achievement in material terms is worthwhile unless it serves the needs of the city, country, and its people, and is achieved by fair and honest means. This stuck to me, that we were successful in design, we were successful in hospitality, but what? The gratification was not really coming. And something else happened in the same time. 26/11, I was there in Taj on the same day. I was in Chambers on the same day, and I left Chambers at about 5:30 for a meeting. Hadn't I left Chambers, perhaps today I wouldn't be standing here. These two things, what to do so that business becomes meaningful and to seek revenge for what had happened, because I didn't think enough was done to seek revenge those days. Well, the Eureka Moment happened and wanted to merge experiential hospitality, design thinking, and get it across to igniting passion for the country. So that was the turning point where business became secondary and the primary motto was to take this message of igniting passion for the country. We identified a piece of land. Being into hospitality for so many years, of course, things were more easier at this point, but this was by far the most difficult project of my life. In the middle of the forest, identifying a piece of forest land, looking for a farming land, and converting it across into India's first counterterrorism training academy for civilians. This is what we started off. We got into the military mindset, the Sarvadharam Sthal, respecting the national flag. Igniting passion for the country begins from there. The minute you don a military uniform, every civilian coming there has to don a military uniform. You sit in military vehicles, in the military trucks. So people get off from their fancy cars and get into these trucks to come to this place. It imbibes a different sense of discipline in them. This is what we've created across. We wanted to mix experiential hospitality in a military theme and then get the finest in training together. So, of course, design is in every inch of what we've created to create that experience across. To salute Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw, India's veteran military war hero. Without this man, we wouldn't have won the 1971 war that we keep talking about even till date against Pakistan. We've dedicated an entire restaurant to his life and his story. We've dedicated to Maratha Regiment because we are in Maharashtra, in Bombay, in Lonavala, we are in the land of the Marathas. We dedicated Maratha Regiment a banquet. The idea was to really live the theme and let people soak it in of what the experiences are. Patriotism. Patriotism cannot be done and displayed. You know, all of you will agree with me that we in India are all by and large patriotic. But the only time we get to see patriotism and our bloods boil is during India-Pakistan cricket match. That's the only day we give a few abuses and then we are quiet. We do nothing about this patriotism. So this place was finally something that was my chance to do and demonstrate patriotism. So we were lucky enough to get Lieutenant General of Indian Army to lead our team, Raymond Narona. We got captains, Zubedars, Marcos Commandos, NSG Commandos, Black Cats. We even have 2 of the first commandos who were the 8 respondents in Taj as trainers at our academy. So employing the army veterans, and that too from special forces, was an act of patriotism. And this is something that should be done and practiced by all the corporates across in the country. We've got multiple things. So how did we seek revenge? We seek revenge by training people in counterterrorism, training people in survival techniques, training people in jungle survival. Reason for training people. This is our way of seeking revenge. In case of a natural calamity, floods, landslides, the citizen becomes an asset and not a liability to the country. In case of a terrorist attack, not only does the person train how to survive, how to get into the mindset of the terrorists, how to survive, what are the techniques that special forces use to survive. And these are lessons that need to be learned mentally, not physically. By training people on counterterrorism, this is our revenge. We have about 3,000 people being trained at the academy, civilians, on a monthly basis. That comes to 36,000 people a year. 36,000 trained Indians is a way of seeking revenge by making them as an asset in case of an adverse situation. Well, that's the training modules. Creating local employment. So in a place where we are creating local employment, like JRD had said, no success or achievement is worthwhile unless it serves the communities and the city and the country. So creating local employments wherever we go. We do not employ contract labor. We make sure everybody is on the payroll. We make sure we generate employment where we go. Well, this is what we've done to ignite passion for the country. What is it that you're going to do to ignite passion for the country? Quite a few of you are going to turn into entrepreneurs when you leave the university. Quite a few of you are going to be successful. What is that measure that's going to measure the success? Is it going to be your balance sheet? Is it going to be the amount of money you make? Or is it going to be your contribution to your city, community, country? Your contribution to igniting passion for the country. Your contribution of saluting and acknowledging the armed forces. I leave you with this thought. Jai Hind.